It's you again. I'm Daniel. This is Chris, and you're watching The Superhero Show, a weekly roundup of all the superhero news right here on IGN. Now, Chris, you're back in the hot seat.
Yeah, you didn't do a show last week without me, did you?
No, we didn't.
Good. Because I just looked online and there was a show.
No, we were just repeating them.
Rich was in my seat.
No.
You said that I don't prepare properly for shows.
So sometimes you've got to recast and reboot the series to keep it going.
And someone said, I looked at the comments underneath, someone started off a comment with the words, I'm not saying Chris should be replaced, but... so, yeah, I feel like a lot's changed since I was last sitting here.
Anyway, something hasn't changed as we always begin with the news.
Yes, we do. And I have the first piece of news, which is pretty much a sentence. But yeah, Pixar have announced that Incredibles 2 is going to happen, which is something that I know people have been wanting for ever since the first film came out, pretty much. We get a lot of emails. Whenever we write a story about Incredibles 2 potentially happening, where there's an avalanche of comments of people saying, please make this happen. How do you feel about it? You're a big Pixar fan.
Big Pixar fan. And I think... back when Pixar were known for doing really high-quality sequels, this would have been more jubilant news and cause for celebration than it maybe is today.
You're talking about Toy Story 2 and 3?
Yeah, they're terrible. Yeah. That was when they made sequels that were just as good as the originals. Now, I really like Monsters University, but I think basically I'm talking about Cars here. Mm-hmm. Cars 2 is not great. And, the thing about... that people love so much about Pixar originally was they were always doing new things, and now they're going back and making sequels. People want to see them doing new things.
Yep.
So I'm probably less excited than I would have been 3-4 years ago.
Yeah. But it's happening. There's nothing we can do about it. And before then, there's an Incredibles 3D re-release happening as well. Yeah,
I do still like The Incredibles. I think it stands up really well. It's one of their more kind of... I suppose it leans more towards an older audience. I think a lot of the stuff early on in the film really plays to an older audience more so than kids. So I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not in a frenzy about it.
No, agreed.
Do you want to know some other news?
I would love to, yeah.
News that doesn't really impact us anytime soon, but in 2018, Mark Webb isn't directing Amazing Spider-Man 4.
Oh, what?
I know.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry to break that to you. You've just come back from holiday.
I need to lie down.
I know. He's not going to do another film in 2018.
Okay, has there been any reason given for that? Or?
I think he just doesn't want to sign his life away. He says he really loves the series.
Yeah.
He still wants to be an active part of shaping the Spider-Man universe, which is obviously a big deal for Sony as it ramps up production on a Sinister Six movie and Venom, which we've talked about a lot on the show, how Fox really want to turn Spider-Man into their kind of big cinematic universe. I think he just probably wants to do other projects, and 3 is enough, 3 an hour.
Yeah, well, by the time he's finished that movie, the third film, it will have probably been the best part of a decade he's spent on one character.
And he's then been instrumental in establishing the new look Spider-Man, which is obviously probably more faithful to the comics, more wisecracking, younger, still has a lot of those kind of teenage dilemmas that the original Spider-Man had. And it's time to move on. It's like Harry Potter. Do the first few, get it going, get it successful, and then walk away.
Well, that's what Raimi did. Yeah. The third one didn't work out particularly well, but he walked away after 3 and, let someone else have a crack at the whip.
It's interesting. They actually asked him, this comes from the Daily Beast, he said, would you ever like to see crossovers with the other Marvel movies? And obviously that's the question everyone wants to know. That's what you probably want to know as well. And, he just said, well, we'd all love that to happen, but it's way above his pay grade. It's all about that.
It will happen, I have no doubt.
One day when they're no longer popular.
Speaking of crossovers, this story that I've got could lead into a crossover. So Fox have been busy figuring out some release dates for some of their big movies, their Marvel movies. So the sequel to The Wolverine, which we already know James Mangold's going to direct, that's got a release date, March 3rd, 2017. And even though Fantastic Four hasn't started shooting yet, they've already announced a release date for the sequel, which will be July 14, 2017.
I need to spend some time with my Google calendars.
Yes.
This is ridiculous.
I mean, they are pinning a lot of their hopes on these Marvel movies right now.
There's a lot of forward planning going on.
Yeah. Well, equally, they've announced a third Marvel film for July 13, 2018, but it's a mystery movie. They're not saying what it is. Right. The Hollywood Reporter speculated that it might be the X-Men Fantastic Four crossover.
That film everyone wants.
Well, I don't know. If done right, that could be an amazing movie.
Totally, and I completely... Obviously, that seems to be what they love to work towards, have their kind of crossover movie that does great guns a la Avengers. The only problem is Marvel were really patient with it. And they did all the groundwork, they got all their pieces in place, and then they went for the kill. Yeah. And I just worry they're trying to force it.
Yeah.
And they force it, and it goes a bit wrong. Yeah, we might say that. We don't know. We haven't even seen Days of Future Past yet. So.
No, there's already rumours that there's trouble behind the scenes on Fantastic Four. So
there's rumours that they're going to like re-script it and stuff, and it's shooting soon, and they've announced the date for the sequel.
Good luck.
Good luck.
So, what's our big talking point this week, Dan?
Well, first up, we're going to have a look through loads, because we did a gallery feature and everyone loved it. I think it's mainly to do with the music. Of your casting suggestions this week, we're going to look through the concept art that Marvel's released officially for the first time for Age of Ultron and Ant-Man. So should we take a look?
Let's do it.
First image. So, there you go.
Yeah, I'll be Black Widow.
Just back to back. I think the back to back shot is the thing. There's like quite a cool shot in the original Avengers. There's a shot like this in Guardians of the Galaxy with Groot and Rocket going back to back. I just really hope this isn't the Bad Boys influenced Hulk and Black Widow spin-off movie that I've been wanting.
But if it's going to become a Marvel trademark, so be it.
Yeah, it's a Michael Bay trademark. Anyway.
Move on to the next one. Now.
Who's this fella?
Look at this. This would be Aaron Taylor-Johnson as Quicksilver.
But he doesn't look terrible. Why is that, Chris?
Because he's not on the cover of Empire magazine with dodgy hair and although actually the point is he hasn't got he doesn't look like he's got silver hair there, which is I don't know. I don't think fans will be too happy because he's Quicksilver. But maybe that'll be a plot point in the movie. Who knows? Maybe his hair will go grey, or there'll be a reason for it happening during the film.
It's a lot more kind of realistic rendition of that character.
He just looks a bit cooler.
Yeah, Aaron Johnson's quite cool, I think.
The Evan Peters picture from the magazine cover does not look cool at all. It looks really geeky and uncool.
It looks a bit like Fancy Dress, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So we go to the next one.
Scarlet Witch.
That is cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. Bit creepy.
So we might be talking more about these two pictures in the coming weeks, I can imagine.
I think we will.
But obviously, we did a few news stories on the show about what were they going to do with the costume, because obviously the costume in the comics just wouldn't work on screen. It's too titillating.
Skimpy.
Yeah. Inappropriate.
Yeah,
for the big screen.
Scantily clad.
Scantily clad, that's the right word. And I think this is a much cooler rendition of it again. Yeah. It's kind of a little bit alternative.
Bit emo.
Yeah, a bit emo.
Bit gypsy-like.
This Storm Eyes, though. The Storm Eyes.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of that?
Yeah, I'm liking that. That makes it a creepy picture suddenly. Just because you can't see the eyes. Yeah, it does look quite scary,
doesn't it? It's the first time mutants have been introduced really into the Marvel Cinematic Universe in a big way.
Yeah.
So I think the first look at Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, compared to the Quicksilver and X-Men, the reaction's been much more positive.
Yeah, we did a poll on the site as to which Quicksilver you like best, and man, it was no contest.
Night and day.
It was all over this one.
Yeah.
Cool. Any more images?
Well, there's some more. That one.
Hello.
That's something to be excited about.
Okay, take my money now is what I'm saying.
So that is the Hulkbuster armour. And now, a couple of weeks ago, so we brought in asking what do we think there was happening in South Africa where they're shooting possibly the intro sequence to Age of Ultron. But I can't think of any rationale. I can't imagine where we left Bruce Banner at the end of Avengers, that he's in such a bad place that he's going to need to be contained.
Maybe he's just on holiday.
Maybe they're just maybe it's like D.H. Lawrence's Women in Love, and they're just wrestling in front of a fire in a homoerotic way.
Something's happened here, though.
Yeah, so the Hulkbuster armor that
well.
Tony Stark creates to take on the Hulk when he needs to, when he gets out of control. But this doesn't kind of gel with, one, where Bruce Banner is. He seems quite under control with the Hulk. And obviously Tony Stark's given up being Iron Man.
Yeah.
So...
But hey, Joss Whedon, he's there to surprise us.
But that alone would be really cool. And we've kind of seen a bigger Iron Man suit of armour at the end of Iron Man 3 when he calls in all the prototype suits.
Yeah.
So that has got me really excited. Yeah. I was excited anyway, but that's really cool.
Yeah, like I say, take my money now. I'm ready.
So there were a few more images that we've actually seen before that they were shown at Comic-Con a few years ago, and they're of Ant-Man. So if we go to them right now, Rich. Hey. There you go.
There's Ant-Man.
There's Ant-Man. So obviously we should caveat this. This isn't final footage at all. This was shot for 2012 Comic-Con.
Yeah, I think
it was like test footage Edgar Wright shot.
Like 2 years before Paul Rudd's actually been cast.
The film was probably even greenlit. It was like proof of concept footage.
Yeah.
So this is just being put together without a lot of production budget behind it. So that's kind of a little look of what the suit looks like. But you can find this footage online. It's not been. Not in high quality, but you can see it from people filming it on their phones at Comic-Con.
Unofficial versions of it? We would never watch that, would we?
No.
Okay, good.
So can we go to the next picture? So this is showing kind of the transition in size. So the footage shows him running down a corridor, but the guards can't see him because he's really, really tiny. And then midway through, he grows, he jumps, and then he goes small again, and he runs up along the barrel of a gun. Can we get the next one, Rich? Again, showing the sense of scale.
He's little.
A little fella, isn't he? Is that a critical insight on Ant-Man, pretty much?
Yeah, I think. Well, you can't read too much into this, can you? Because this is from a couple of years ago. But
I think it's just going. Also, to release these stills as kind of the first kind of semi-official ones, or the official ones, it kind of shows you they must be quite pleased with that proof of concept.
Well, it suggests to me it's not going to look too different in the final movie, because otherwise it's a really weird thing to do. But I still don't know why you just wouldn't wait until to get some official stills out there.
Yeah, maybe they just want to seed the character soon because it's such a weird one.
Yeah, and this was part of a TV show, wasn't it, that screened on the States on Monday?
Yeah, it was like a behind the scenes of like making the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
Was it on Entertainment Weekly or something like that? It was just something like that.
So that smacks of filler, maybe. We've got 10 minutes we need to fill. Let's stick some old Ant-Man picks up.
You got it from Ant-Man. No, we haven't started Ant-Man yet. It's coming out next year. Oh, crap. And the sequel 2 years later. That's where we are now. That's the world we live in.
We just want.
Should we get onto the talking point?
Let's do it.
Still haven't thought of a better name for talking point.
No.
Suggestions?
Yeah.
Hit us up on Twitter, @Krupa.
Well, I was just thinking, we've got Captain America coming out on Wednesday in the UK and the week after in the States. So what better time than now to talk about the summer superhero movies, and more specifically, which ones we're most looking forward to seeing.
First one's out the gates, isn't it, soon?
So there's four big ones.
Okay.
We've got X-Men First Class, Amazing Spider-Man 2, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Captain America Winter Soldier. So those four, which one are you most excited about, Daniel Krupa?
Okay. Torn.
What are you torn between?
My heart says Spider-Man, because Spider-Man was my favourite superhero growing up.
You bloody love Spider-Man.
And I just want it to be good, but it's too soon. It's too soon since they did a few good ones. I think Spider-Man 2 is still one of my favourite superhero films. But I'm most looking forward to Days of Future Past, because I think a lot hinges on how good that is going to be. Mm-hmm. The future of X-Men really hinges on how good that is. I really love First Class. It's one of my favourite superhero films of the last few years. I think it's really, really good. But there's some reasons to be concerned about Days of Future Past. I'm not too sure about Bryan Singer coming back.
Why is that?
I just thought Matthew Vaughn did a great job. I would have liked to seen him continue, pass on the baton, rather than Singer maybe Superman not being a huge success and him coming back to what is safer territory for him. X2 is great. But I think maybe a new director, give it something different, inject more life into it. I worry about there being so many characters. I think that might be a bit of a trailer sleight of hand. I think a lot of them will be cameos, and a lot of it will be focused on the First Class cast and Hugh Jackman to carry the bulk of the film. Everyone else might be more cameos. But I'm kind of interested to see it, because I think if they pull it off, it could be a huge, epic superhero film, and it means that the X-Men Fox universe really does have a future. But if it's it's a bit of a dud, critically doesn't perform, pales in comparison at the box office to the Marvel movies, then we might see some of these dates slipping or being kind of rethought in the years to come.
So they're already working on Apocalypse, so I think that's set in stone.
Or is it hubris? Is that hubris?
Yeah, maybe.
Because it's not. I think it's one of those films that is critic proof. It's not going to tank at the box office, but whether it doesn't, whether it's a success or whether it's an Avengers style success, and that could dictate how a lot of future projects, whether we see a lot of these X-Men spin-off movies we're always hearing rumours of, because I don't think, as good as the character of Wolverine is, the standalone films still aren't that good. Wolverine's better than the first one, but the first one's pretty crap.
Yeah.
So I think a lot hinges on that. What do you think about Days of Future Past?
Well, coming into this year, Days of Future Past was not only my most anticipated superhero movie, but maybe my most anticipated movie of the year. I was super, super excited. I was happy about Bryan Singer returning. Yeah. I think there was a bit of a backlash when that was announced, but I think people forget, A, he's not made a bad X-Men movie yet, and B, X2 was the best superhero movie of all time, pretty much, when it came out.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, not far off. And so I guess it's slightly problematic that he did Superman Returns, which was not a great movie, and then Jack the Giant Killer last year. I only just watched that. Not brilliant. I didn't enjoy that. Jack the Giant Slayer, wasn't it? Yeah. But yeah, I had no problem with him returning. The man knows how to shoot an ensemble, and there's a lot of people in this movie. But then, like you say, the more and more characters and the character reveals on the magazine covers just made me slightly worried. And then what I was most excited...
There are some good ones. Like, I think the Sentinel looks good, and Peter Dinklage, I think it's cool casting.
Yeah.
So I know we're focusing on the bad stuff here, but I think reasons to be concerned is what we're saying.
Yeah, I think the thing I was most excited about was watching a movie where Fassbender and McAvoy and McKellen and Stewart were on screen a lot together.
It's big acting chops there.
Yeah, and all four of them are great, and I thought it would have been great fun watching that, but I've kind of heard that might only be one scene in the movie. So I think part of the thing I was most excited about, maybe I've got to pull back on. But that said, like if it's going to be a movie of Wolverine with, Hugh Jackman with McAvoy and Fassbender, that could be a blast as well.
And there's some, that's the thing I think X-Men has going for it above a lot of them. Not there's a lot of great actors involved. There's some proper actors here. Actors that are known for really weighty roles elsewhere. I want to see Jackman and Fassbender going at it. I want to see. Be good, isn't it?
So all that means is that I've slightly reined it in my excitement for that movie.
So it's tempered expectations, but I'm looking forward to that. It's still the one I want to see more than any other, because in and of itself, as a story, how they execute that story, which is such a famous story, but also what it means for the future of X-Men and Fox Marvel movies. But what about you?
Well, for me, it's Guardians of the Galaxy. And that's simply because I think all three of the other movies are sequels.
Yeah.
To the universes we've been in before. This is something totally new. Equally, we've had, 8 or 9 Marvel movies so far from Phase 1 and 2. And this is something totally different.
It's a new chapter, isn't it?
Yeah, and the formula was almost becoming a little bit stale for me, particularly with Thor: The Dark World. And so to take it into outer space and have an intergalactic superhero movie, I'm all over that.
Yeah.
It's going to look different, it's going to feel different, a whole new cast of characters. As we've said before, from what I saw on set and from what now everyone's seen in the trailers, it's going to have much more of a Star Wars vibe than an Avengers vibe. Again, that's cool. We need something different and new. I just hope they've nailed it, because it could massively go either way.
Well, and similar to Days of Future Past, a lot kind of rests on that movie.
A lot.
Because it's trying to introduce a new aspect of the Marvel Universe to reinvigorate the Marvel Universe so it doesn't become stale like Thor.
Yeah.
So it's setting up the more kind of supernatural, intergalactic elements, and if the public embrace it in a big way, then I think that basically Plan A is put into operation at Marvel HQ. They go, right, that went down a success. That means all this other stuff we planned for, we can greenlight them, because all our building blocks are going to fall into place. If it kind of lukewarm, they might have to just revise some of those plans.
And I'm really excited for everyone to see Chris Pratt as Star-Lord, from what I've seen.
Yeah. He's going to be a big star, isn't he, now? Like that in Jurassic World.
He's got a good couple of years coming up.
He's going to be
deservedly so, man. The guy's charisma.
The new Harrison Ford.
Yeah. So I think that's the one for me. What about the other two then? Let's talk about them. How are you feeling about Spider-Man at this point?
I'm going in with medium expectations and hoping to be really surprised by it. I think there might be a lot of good fan service in there.
Yeah.
I think you will get stuff, because we know they're planning on expanding the Spider-Man universe. I imagine there's going to be a lot of Easter eggs in there, which is one of the reasons that I think people have kind of got so into the Marvel movies. It's like, what's next? And finding the clues and knowing that there's going to be one in 2 years' time. It's not like you're going to wait 5 years and you don't know if there's going to be another one. So I imagine there's going to be a lot to get your teeth into in the Spider-Man one. And I've said before on the show and on IGN before, I think I really love Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. I think he's a brilliant Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And he's a version of the Spider-Man that I grew up reading and watching in cartoons, the wisecracking Spider-Man. And I love the fact that they got a table of comedy writers who they haven't named sit down for a couple of days and brainstorm and just come up with one-liners.
I didn't know that.
Apparently very famous comedians.
Harry Hill. Michael Barrymore.
Yeah.
Some of the big guns.
Barry Cryer.
Yeah, Ronnie Corbett.
Barry Cryer. One for the American viewers there.
Google him.
He's a legend. So I can't wait to see how funny it is, because I've heard it's really funny.
Yeah.
So tempered expectations.
Yeah, that one I've been indifferent to that one from the beginning. As you know, I wasn't a huge fan of Amazing Spider-Man. Nothing I've seen about this one has got me super excited. But that said, I'm happy to go with an open mind. Jim saw half an hour of it. Jim Veveda in our LA office, and he's done a video on the site actually talking about what he's seen.
Breaking it down, yeah.
Yeah, it's quite spoilery, but he came out of that super jazzed for the movie. Like he was talking about it being kind of the Spider-Man movie that he kind of had always wanted to see.
Yeah.
Even over and above the Raimi movies. So, yeah, I've got a totally open mind for that one.
And the last one is, and the one that we've probably not mentioned it's Captain America: Winter Soldier. And the reason we've probably not mentioned it is because we've both seen it this week.
Well, no, you talked about it last week, to be fair.
Yeah, we teased it last week with Rich. On the episode we didn't do. And
I think next week we're going to do a show dedicated to it. But I think it's fair to say now we both really liked it.
I thought it was great. And the review on site is hugely positive, and I agree with pretty much a lot of
Ross
Ross said
it, giving it a 9 out of 10.
And I think it does amazing stuff for the cinematic universe. Like, it's not a cookie cutter film. And it's like, let's do another Captain America film. What happens in Captain America has serious ramifications, and it's a really interesting action movie. But I think we'll hold off on that one until we do a Captain America special.
Yeah, I mean, you're off to interview the whole cast this afternoon, aren't you?
This afternoon. Bit nervous about meeting Samuel L. Jackson.
Just call him by the right name.
Lawrence. Do not call him Lawrence.
Call Scarlett Johansson Lawrence. See how that goes.
I'm going to call everyone Lawrence. That's my interview technique. But we want to know what your favourite superhero movie of 2014, which one you're most excited for, I should say.
Yeah.
So how do people get in touch, Chris?
Well, I'm sure I've been off for 2 weeks, so I'm sure in that time you've sorted out a website, an email address that's better than the one we've been using. No? Okay, so what is it? It's IGN UK feedback.
No. Come on, Chris, it's the catchy
IGN_UK feedback at IGN.com.
Rich, just put it on the screen.
But before we go, I want to ask you one question for us to revisit at the end of the summer. Which of these movies is going to make the most money globally?
X-Men.
X-Men?
Yeah.
Can you put them in order? How do you think they're going to rank in order?
X-Men.
Yep.
You sprung this on me. X-Men, Captain America, Guardians, Spider-Man.
Cool. With X-Men being top.
Yeah.
I am going to go...
star power, I think.
Yeah. I'm going to go for Spider-Man being number one. I'm doing the reverse of what you've just said.
Really?
Yep.
To be contrary?
No, it's just what I think.
Okay.
I think Spider-Man's going to make a hell of a lot of money.
And Guardians second?
No.
Oh, okay.
X-Men second.
Okay.
America third. And I'm going Guardians fourth. Down the bottom.
Yeah, I think Guardians, but it's brand new.
But let's revisit this in the summer and see who's...
Yeah, and
who's right.
We want you to rank them as well. Again, that email address no one can remember. Or contact us on Twitter. What are you?
Tilly Tweets.
I'm Krupa. And until next week.
Cheerio.
Goodbye.